Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Joanne Stevens, and this is our Thursday call-in show for mobile home park owners and other mobile home park industry participants. Today, we have a special guest. We have Jenny Hodge from the Manufactured Housing Institute, our National Trade Association, and she's going to tell us about the Las Vegas Manufactured Housing Institute Congress in Las Vegas. And before we get to Jenny, and I'll introduce her in just a minute, I wanted to remind everybody of our website where we have archive our newsletters, and that's joannemstevens.com. Also want to remind everyone that in December 10th and 11th here in Cedar Rapids, we will be having our first annual owners symposium where we'll talk about things like capital gains. We'll talk about how to categorize your capital gains tax. Also, we'll have some specialists that appraise mobile home parks, so you'll leave with a pretty good idea of the value of your park. And we'll also talk about some operations, new ideas in park operations. So we'll be putting out more information on that as time goes on. So, but I want to introduce now Jenny Hodge, who is a vice president at the Manufactured Institute. Jenny, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, welcome. I was really glad it worked out for you to join us today. And just so our listeners know, this Las Vegas conference is in its 20th or 25th year?
My goodness, you're asking, I think actually it's probably closer to the 28th or 29th year.
Oh, okay. Well,
yes.
and Jenny, we'll talk about the conference, but if people are interested in attending, is there a website, or how do they?
Certainly.
Okay.
Certainly. And we'll talk about this, and I'm happy to tell you and your listeners all about it. But I would encourage everyone to go to www. and then it's Congress and Expo, all one word, so CONGRESSANDEXPO, congressandexpo.com, and you will find everything that you would want to know about it for registration, for sessions, for various options, exhibitors, things of that nature. And our timing is good to be doing this today because our early pricing will expire tomorrow night at midnight. So there's only, just today and tomorrow left for the early pricing.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I'm signed up. I took advantage of the early pricing. And so, Jenny, what I want to start out talking about is the Tuesday forum, because that is something, well, it seems relatively new, but we've probably been doing it for 10 years at least, having the all day.
Exactly. So on Tuesdays, what we call the NCC Spring Forum, or just the Spring Forum, that is a day of programming content that is specifically targeting community owners and operators. Now, we'll have consultants and lenders and other people in the room, but we approach the Tuesday session, and it's something that MHI's National Communities Council, for which I am responsible at the association. So we really, again, it's all about community owners and operators, and we really try to select content with two guiding principles: what will help our owners and operators sell more homes or lease more sites, or what will help improve operations. So everything we offer during that day should be able to either help people, fill their communities or help them improve their operations.
Yeah, that is a very worthwhile Education Day, that NCC forum. It's always, I've been to almost all of them, and they are very, I always learn a great deal at those. And who are some of your, is there a theme this year with the NCC?
Yes.
Oh, and what is that?
Well, what we're doing is we decided, we didn't call out a specific theme for the spring forum as much this year. We're sort of borrowing the overall theme of building a brighter future. But having said that, we approached the content for this year sort of through the lens of the life cycle of owning and managing a community. You know, what would you do if you were looking to expand? How should you position your community? What to do, how to work with residents, financing options, as well as we have a really exciting panel discussion at the end of the day on Tuesday about what happens when you think you want to exit. Perhaps you're a veteran in the industry, or maybe after just 25 years, you've acquired a portfolio, and maybe you're tired of being in it on a daily basis, but you don't really want to sell, whether you want to keep it within the family, whether it's a partnership issue, what are some options that you might have sort of winding down, if you will, that life cycle. So we're going to have a panel session devoted to exit strategies without selling. So perhaps it's appropriate to bring in a management company. Perhaps, it's appropriate to recraft or create a new partnership, things of that nature. So Tuesday's going to be an exciting day again this year.
Yeah, I think that's a very creative topic. I was really glad to see that on the list of presentations, because it is another option for owners to consider that very, very few people even think of, let alone explore. So I think that is, there are a great many people in the industry who would just as soon not be in the day-to-day, as you pointed out, but also for various reasons would just as soon not sell their mobile home park.
Sure.
So,
sure.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It's just, one thing that your audience, I hope, will learn is I do tend to be a little bit passionate about some of our topics and what we do and how we work with the industry. So it's just my enthusiasm. I don't mean to be rude and cut you off. My mother would be quite disappointed in me. But it's really one of those, some of the other topics we're going to be talking about on Tuesday, and we always try to think about in this year, that particular session is, we know there's likely going to be somebody in our audience that is thinking about these topics, and how can we create sort of, the safe environment to at least introduce a topic. I mean, we don't necessarily expect that everyone is going to have the complete eureka moment to thoroughly revolutionize their business while they're in Las Vegas, but we really do want people to leave with some solid ideas and perhaps, begin that dialogue and really think about how they might improve or change their operation.
Well, that's right. I think even if people haven't thought about some of the topics or ideas that they'll hear, are you planning to put out the notebook or the handout, the kind of voluminous handout for the attendees?
Well, actually, we haven't produced the paper notebook in a number of years. MHI, we are going green, and any handouts that are utilized during the session will be available electronically for attendees to go in and be able to print them out for reference.
Well, that's great, because those electronic handouts, will they have the names and contact information of the presenters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. you'll have full information if you want to reach back out to any of our presenters. And, you know, if I could, because the Vegas meeting, I mean, obviously, since my primary responsibility for the Las Vegas event is the Tuesday programming, but I would be completely remiss if I didn't give a shout out for the rest of the event, because if an attendee comes to Vegas, between our exhibitors in the exhibit hall as well as the other sessions that are also going to be offered on Wednesday and Thursday, there is so much information and education available, as well as networking with other community owners and operators. And so there's a whole lot of good from being in Las Vegas.
There is. Well, tell us about the other, let's start with the other education session.
Sure.
There's, you have a keynote, a speaker. Why don't you tell us about that, Jenny?
Certainly. On Wednesday morning, we are going to feature Tim Sanders, who is a New York Times best-selling author, and he wrote this great book called Love is the Killer App, How to Win Business and Influence Friends. And which I know that at least when I first heard that, I thought, that sounds a little soft, and what's that about? But he's really an articulate and energetic fellow that makes the point about the human relationships of business. And that, you know, if you take care of people and if you're taking care of your coworkers and your customers, it really does shine. And that's how you can improve your business, by making sure that you're really investing in those kinds of relationships. And it's not all about just having a group hug and feeling warm and fuzzy. You know, he points out that these are real activities that when people feel valued, they work harder, and that translates to everybody's bottom line. So there's good business reason for sometimes thinking about what might otherwise be perceived as something sort of soft and fussy. So he's very high energy. He'll get the group pumped up on Wednesday morning. And then from there, you know, we do offer a variety of other, as I said, workshops. And so we will be covering things. There'll be a discussion regarding the implementation of duty to serve requirements from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the government-sponsored entities, and certainly what they could be doing to help our industry. And then we also have a session on employee development. We'll have another session in the afternoon regarding regulatory actions. We have a session that's dedicated to fair housing and the Americans with Disabilities updates. So there'll be a lot of very practical information there. We have another session in terms of selling energy efficient homes. There'll be a networking reception that night. And then on Thursday, here's another reason that, you know, if you are a smaller operator, perhaps, you know, whether you're a one property or just two property portfolio owner, we'll have an entire session called Ask the Attorneys. And we've lined up some really high power attorneys from Florida and California to just take questions, you know, to say what's going on. So, you know, we don't all have to, you know, reach out to an expensive attorney. You can come to Las Vegas and learn from your peer groups, as well as some marketing sessions about attracting new home buyers. So it's you know, the overall conference really does offer quite a bit of education.
Well, that does sound like a very timely topics. I know that I've heard people that go to the Ask the Attorney session, because I think you've had that a time or two in the past, and they said that was the best, one of the best sessions, and it was made the trip worth every penny, you know, for the
Sure.
registration and travel to go there. And Jenny, if you would, you know, give our listeners kind of an overview of the exhibits, because when we started this call, I said, well, it's for mobile home park owners, but it's really for anybody.
Absolutely.
So why don't you talk about how different, different players in the industry would benefit, and an overview of the exhibits.
Certainly. Well, and yes, so candidly, if you are at all involved in the manufactured housing industry, you would want to be in Las Vegas. Our exhibit hall, and by the way, we have sold out exhibit space, and so we have exhibitors from across the board. So again, it's a great opportunity to come, meet, greet, and learn, and maybe ask questions about things, and almost one-stop shopping, if you will, if you're considering making some changes to your own organization and how you might be operating your own community. For example, we've got PayLease, which is exhibiting, and they specialize in online payments. We have Rent Manager, which probably many of your listeners are already using for property management software. We have another technology firm that but they have a unique, what they call the Quote Pro kiosk, and trying to really bring technology to the fingertips, or when people come to visit your community, maybe you can interact with them in that sort of fashion. We have exhibitors that will be addressing utility and or repair billing options, things of that nature. We have, actually, when it comes to finance and lending, we have both commercial lenders. So perhaps you have listeners that have questions about refinancing their communities, or maybe they've got some loans that will be maturing and they want to know what their refinance opportunities are. We have a wide variety of community lenders, from Bank of America to Onyx Capital Corporation, to HAS Capital, to, Pillar Financial, one of our sponsors. And again, my only fear is I'm sure I'm going to, forget somebody. So the list is long in how many people we have exhibiting. MH Village also is always on exhibit at the Congress and Expo, and they do terrific work. We have brokerage. So obviously, Joanne, you'd be more than happy and capable of handling any of your listeners if they want to perhaps acquire more or thinking about selling, but a few of your competitors will also be there. We'll have folks from the insurance industry, and I would say that these are all people that really specialize in insurance for the manufactured housing industry. So maybe you're reconsidering the coverage for your particular community and you'd like to just get some pointers. There'll be at least 5 or 6 different insurance exhibitors that would be able to handle your commercial insurance, whether it's handling installations and toting, to just liability, to again, or even setting up and working with one of these firms to ensure that your residents have insurance for their homes and their own liability. So that's another example. And then we have a variety of product and suppliers that will be there, and additional service providers such as Manage America, which also offers a variety of automation and management services for community owners. We'll have the folks from Senco. We've got LB Building Products. We've got some management corporations, if that would be another opportunity. We have, I'm trying to find some water submetering and utility billing, again, a variety of lenders. We've got some unique solar lighting that will be on display. We have appliances from Electrolux. We've got some site planners that will be there. If perhaps you're thinking about upgrading or changing the design of your community or looking to expand. Donald Westfall will be there, and he would love to talk to people about what some of their options might be to do something like that. Clayton Homes will certainly be there and be represented, as well as will Cavco and Champion, and again, some other lenders. And so we've got some pneumatic tools and fasteners from B of A Fasteners USA. I mean, So you name it'll be there. And as I said, even if one of your attendees came out and did only Tuesday and then just really made a concerted effort to spend time in the exhibit hall, if you've ever wondered about, well, what if I did this, or what are community owners doing in Colorado versus, what's happening in Minnesota or Tennessee, it's a great place to come.
It is for sure. I'm always, I think people who have been in the industry for a long time, like I have, sometimes it's easy to think, well, I sort of, what else is there to learn, or what could possibly be new? But I always come away with fresh ideas of things of, how to sell homes, how to refurbish homes. I know one year there was a representative or an exhibit from Menards, of all places, where they have a special division where they will help people do repairs on homes in certain markets. So just little things like that can really stump
Right.
a mobile home park owner. You're going to find some solutions if you go to the Las Vegas show.
Well, and what's really good, and thank you for saying that, because why we are so proud of this particular event, if you are new to the industry, it is a great learning opportunity, because everybody and, so many different segments and so many knowledgeable people between our exhibitors and our presenters will be right there. So it's terrific learning for those that are new or new-ish to the industry. But at the same time, we like to think that we also stir some creative thinking amongst and I consider myself one of these, sort of one of the industry veterans. So if you have been in the industry a while, well, okay, we all like to think there's nothing new under the sun, but occasionally there are some unique twists or new ideas and just some fresh thinking. So, wherever you are on the spectrum of either owning and operating a community, or with respect to the length of time around the manufactured housing industry, everybody should be in Vegas.
Yeah, another comment too is, well, why don't you talk a little bit about some of the social aspects of it, because it's really, in addition to all the learning, it's a lot of fun too. So can you talk about the receptions and the
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that, and again, selfishly, I will plug the Tuesday session. And so, starting with that even, if you are able to attend that, between the lunch and the coffee networking hour, actually every year we receive feedback that we should extend the networking time that we have during the Tuesday session, simply because, we find that people want to talk to their peers and, see what's going on. But Tuesday night, after our day-long session, Tuesday night is the kickoff opening reception for the Congress and Expo, and it is very well attended. We'll probably have every year our attendance is higher and higher, and I'm sure we'll be well over, 1,000. That's about where we're running at the moment. So by the time we get closer, so we'll have hundreds of people in the exhibit hall to kick it off and really do that opening reception. And, people are friendly, they're talking, everybody has their name tag. So it's very easy if you're a bit of an introvert, and I may not sound like it, but on occasion, even I can be a bit introverted. It's a very social atmosphere. People are there to meet, greet, talk, have a cocktail, have an hors d'oeuvre, really just sort of learn in a relaxed environment. And then other social opportunities include the breakfast on Wednesday morning, which is in the exhibit hall. So it's easy to come through, get some cereal, or we typically have some sort of hot item available as well for breakfast. Again, have a cup of coffee and talk to some other folks in the industry. During the Wednesday lunch, that is also included in the registration. Another great opportunity, and it's during that lunch that the National Industry Awards are presented. So that's always a very exciting time to see who has been selected as, for example, the community operator of the year or the various lender of the year. And then Wednesday night, we have another, again, just another wonderful reception that's extremely well attended on Wednesday night at the end of the day. And, people just really enjoy the talking and the networking and the opportunities. I'd also say that probably we have about 12 different exhibitors that will be that are sponsoring giveaways at their booth as well. So you can grab a soft drink or something a little stronger and stroll the exhibits, get your card marked, and who knows what you might walk away with. You'd be a winner in lots of different ways.
Yeah, it really, you do have really thought of some things to really make it a really fun night, and yeah, all the prizes are always great too. And one comment about going to the Las Vegas Congress and Expo is that people are very easy to talk to. I mean, you'll see CEOs of companies, there at the exhibits, talking, among
Absolutely.
the attendees. So it's one thing about this industry is that people are very willing to share. It's very easy to meet new people, ask questions. I've always found it to be a very welcoming event. So I really hope that people who haven't been will really go this year, because a lot of times I hear people after the event say, "Oh, if I only had known that it was coming up." And so it really is a very easy way to meet a lot of people, get a lot of ideas, and it's fun.
Well, good. I thank you for saying that. And we're pretty proud of it. It's always been, there's a lot of work that goes into this particular event, but it's worth it. And because it is important. This is the single largest gathering and industry event in the manufactured housing industry, and it does draw from everywhere and at all different levels. To your point, yes, you will see manufacturer CEOs manning their own booth, and more than happy to take a question from somebody walking up. And and to your point, the folks in this industry are just so approachable and very sharing. It really is quite a community unto itself that people really want to share and help and, just be good citizens and give back. So it's a great event to do those kinds of things. And, it's not just some of the manufacturing CEOs that will be there, but certainly from, pardon me, lenders. Some of the large portfolio operators are always very well represented as well. And, it's one of those, and I'm being a bit arbitrary here, but if I am a smaller community owner, maybe in New Mexico, and, sort of unsure as to whether or not it's worth my time, well, absolutely, because maybe you're thinking about selling, maybe you're trying to acquire more. So you've got a couple of choices. It's the large the large portfolio owners will be there. And if you want to have a conversation about, perhaps that is your exit strategy, come talk to a few of them while you're there. Or on the flip side, if you're looking to acquire, there are going to be people that are in Las Vegas that are also looking to perhaps, let go of some of their portfolio. So it is a wonderful opportunity across, no matter how you look at it, for networking and for growing your business. There'll be an angle for you in Las Vegas.
Yeah, there will for sure. And Jenny, when you were talking about the portfolio owners being there and some of the park owners who may own one or two parks and is trying to decide, what do I do, sell or get the kids in the business. Another thing I'm hearing owners talk about is maybe I should just double down and really jump into the home sales business, which is really a whole nother business. And if that's something if you have vacant sites, this is definitely a not to be missed conference where you will hear a lot of information about what do you do, both from buying the homes to marketing the homes to the consumer, to the new
Sure.
residents that are moving into your park. So it's very worthwhile from that aspect too.
Well, and we actually have for somebody that would be doing that, and I'm not sure if, I'm just remiss on this, Joanne, but I'm guessing that at some point, if she hasn't already joined you for this call, that she's probably scheduled for the future at a future date, is Suzanne Felber, the lifestylist friend.
Yes, yes.
She's going to be doing an entire session about attracting new home buyers to the retail centers and really looking at sort of the wants and needs of today's affordable housing buyers. And so, they'll be sharing some real life examples of how a retail center changed their thinking about who a buyer is and how they've changed some of their marketing mix. So that would be a great session for what you're describing in terms of if you have a community owner who's a little uncertain whether or not they want to actually bite the bullet and start selling homes, another great learning opportunity. And we have another session that will also be offered and will come up during Tuesday's community session as well, regarding lending for manufactured home consumers. We all know that the lending environment is a little different than what it was several years ago, but so there's some things to know about that. So it would be, that's yet another strong reason that folks need to come to Las Vegas. It'll be well worth the time and expense.
Yes, and I'm glad that you mentioned Suzanne Felber, because Suzanne is great, and Suzanne, I would describe her as the HGTV of the mobile home park.
Yes.
Of the mobile homes. And she will, I would imagine, have some images of some of the decorating that she's done out, and it's very very simple. It's not that you have to spend thousands of dollars
Right.
decorating a home, a model home, but she has some great ideas that really make the homes attractive without costing a fortune. They're very stylized. I've been amazed at some of the things that she's done. So I always like to sit in on Suzanne's sessions.
Oh, absolutely. And, and that's one other aspect of when we think about the programming content for the Las Vegas event, as well as some of our other meetings. It's really, we know not everybody in the audience has an unlimited budget and a big resources. So we need ideas that will work for our smaller independent attendees, as well as something, it's great if a large portfolio operator can do something or, can really scale, but we don't all have that luxury. And so we need to make sure when, Suzanne's sessions are a great example of that, as well as some of the other ones that we will be offering, because we know that some of our traditional independent smaller operators, they still want to do the right thing. They still want contemporary, worthwhile information, but we can do some of this without asking those attendees to, really break the bank when they get back home, right? We need to make sure that we're offering some practical, some affordable opportunities that address our attendees, and you'll see that.
Well, Jenny, I'm amazed at how enthusiastic you are about the industry, and I've known Jenny for a number of years, and she is in real life every day. I don't know how she keeps her energy up, but she is very energetic, is a very good advocate for our industry. And tell our listeners in the few minutes we have left, how you what your passion for the mobile home business is, where that comes from, or why you're high on this business.
Well, because we are the greatest untapped resource in so many ways for solving the housing crisis in our great nation. And, you know, I was lucky to find this industry. I came to MHI. I've been with the association for about 4.5 years. But prior to that, I worked for one of our members. I actually worked for American Modern Insurance, which specialized in the manufactured housing industry and insurance. And so when I joined them a number of years ago, they said, well, go study this industry and bring us back some ideas. And it really just opened my eyes. And I think in particular, with respect to the communities segment of our great industry, you know, most people don't realize that manufactured housing is the single largest form of unsubsidized affordable housing. So when we talk about solving the housing crisis, whether it's rural communities or even urban infill, certainly on a much more limited scatter basis, but you know, our communities offer such a great value for the dollar. And that's why I feel strongly about it. You know, and what I think is particularly interesting is, you know, it is an asset category within real estate investment that's drawing a lot more attention now. You know, I think the Great Recession from 2007 and 8 really sort of woke up a lot of people thinking on housing, the role of housing, and certainly the need for affordable housing. How can we deliver a high quality, beautiful product that's actually at a price point reasonable people can afford? Right? I mean, because not every community is, you know, I don't know. Well, I was going to say I don't know of any community. I'm sure there are some pockets outside of New York City or even outside of Washington, D.C. But, you know, the reality of the matter is not every person is bringing in six figures. We need to have quality, reasonable, affordable housing for everybody. And that's the niche where our industry can truly step in and show the site builders a thing or two. You know, we've got this down. And so we just need to be proud of what we do, tell our good story, and keep telling that good story because it's a good story to tell.
Well, that's a great testament. And I want to thank Jenny. Go to congressandexpo.com. And next week, we are going to have two speakers, Roderick Knoll and Don Westfall, talk about developing with mobile home, developing mobile home parks. Yeah, and they will be
those are great guys.
Yeah. So Jenny, thank you so much.
You are very welcome. And if anyone should have any questions, by all means, check out the website. You know how to reach Joanne. Joanne can reach me, or you can go to MHI's website, and we'd be happy to help however we can. Joanne, thank you for doing this and giving us the opportunity to tell our story and what we are offering. So thank you as well for what you do.
Thanks, Jenny. And everybody can go to my website, joannemstevens.com, and click on Save the Date at the top of the screen and get the website to register. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.